Right, it's been about 4 updates since I did this kind of video. We're going to be doing another tier list video in today's video. So, right, disclaimer before we start this. This is of my opinion only. I'm not the most intellectual of Genshin Impact players, but it is what it is. I'm going to be basing it off of personal experiences, what I've seen, and all of that. And it's going to be based mainly off of characters at Constellation 0. So I'm not factoring in stuff like C1 Hu Tao or stuff like that. I'm only going off of Constellation 0 stuff, so yeah, be warned. And please do not blame me in the comments, and also don't mass dislike the video as soon as I put your favorite character in D tier or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's been a while since we did a video on one of these. If you guys enjoy this kind of content and you want to support the channel, you guys feel free to sub though, because a small percentage of people watching the videos are subscribed, and if you're new or return to the channel, we do a lot of Genshin Impact content around here. I'm trying to do very consistent content right now, trying to get the channel back up because I'm not going to lie, we fell off, homie, let's be real here. So yeah, if you want to help support me and the content, you guys feel free to sub. But let's get into it, and me ranking every character as of the 2.8 update to Genshin Impact. Right, let's get into it. So I feel like first off, we should start off with a very simple one. Nice, easy, simple. Listen, okay, I understand some people like Aloy, but I don't really like Aloy that much. She has literally a 0% pick. Literally, I know the stats for the Spiral Abyss and like on the CN server, there is literally 0% of people have picked Aloy to do the Abyss. So I mean, listen, I'm sorry, Aloy havers and wanters, but I don't like her. Okay, but first off, I know for a fact that we have Lumine and the Traveler, like both versions of the Traveler. I'm just gonna like rank them both next to each other. So I'm gonna start off by putting the Traveler. Now the Traveler, he can be okay. He's not D tier. I'd say put him in C for the minute. He does have 3 forms. So the Animo form, it's okay, but there's better Animo units out there. His Geo form is probably his best form, or her if you pick Lumine, and like it can do an okay amount of damage. Like I run Cinnabar Spindle with it, which I know you're not meant to do, but I mean, listen, Geo Traveler's okay, you know. And then there's Electro Traveler, which I personally haven't used. I don't know. I feel like C tier is a decent place for him. Like I don't use Traveler. I know nothing about the Traveler because I just don't think Traveler's worth it. But you know, there's other characters to talk about on this list. Albedo. Right. Now, Albedo, he's not garbage. I'll give you that. Like, I don't think he's, like, S or, like, A. He's probably a B tier. I don't know. We'll rearrange this tier list depending on, like, how many people are in each tier. I don't know. Albedo has an okay, like, damage output, like, now. Like, especially with the, with Mono Geo teams now being more popular, with characters such as Guro, I mean Zhongli's also a thing, Ito, like I don't know, Albedo's becoming more and more like used and is getting a better place, you know, on people's teams now that there's more and more Geo characters to work around. So I'd like to probably bump him up to maybe a high B or a low A. I'm gonna put him in high B for the minute, just because I don't know how many characters I'm gonna be putting in each tier. But yeah. Okay, right, we need to talk about that one. Amber, I'm sorry, I love her, but Amber, she's not that good. D tier. Arataki Ito. Now, this man has surprised me. In my last tier list video, I put him in, like, high, like, I put him in, like, S, I'm pretty sure. But, no, I've been using him a lot recent, well, not a lot recent, but I didn't pack him, that's FIFA sub. No, I pulled him recently, and, he's really strong. He's level 70, and he's hitting 9k, like, with his like auto attack, with his, you know, his like charge like combo, and he's like talent level 6 with like a level 70 weapon at level 70, with like some very subpar artifacts. I don't know, Ito, he should be an S plus tier. I also read everyone's comments, and a lot of people thought he should be S plus tier last video, and I agree with them after using Ito quite a lot. So yeah, you know what? Ito can get into, you know, he deserves it. You know, he actually does deserve it. He is cracked, honestly. Barbara. Used to be a Barbara main. I love Barbara, but there's better healers out there now. I would be inclined to say, I don't know, she's still okay, but like there's better now. So high C or a low B? I'm gonna say low B for the minute. Like, she's still a very good starting character if you get her at the start of the game, which you all are guaranteed to do. Use her because she'll carry you. She carried me all the way till AR 50 when I finally got like Zhongli and other characters. And Qiqi as a replacement, so like honestly, Barbara isn't that bad. She's actually fairly decent. Her healing output isn't as good. It kind of drops off late game compared to other healers in the game, but as far as I'm concerned, Barbara is still, like, she's still good. Like, I think she's still decent, there's just a lot better out there. And that's the thing with Genshin there. A lot of the old characters are still good, but there's just a lot better nowadays, so honestly, yeah, Barbara in B, I could see it, you know. Beidou, she's a really good support. Like, she is extremely good. I feel like it's like it's not an Electro or Beidou though, is it? I don't know. I'd say high, well not high A, maybe like low A, high B tier. She's really good. Her elemental skill can do a lot of damage if you build her straight Electro. I used her for quite a lot, but I found, I then learned the ways of Beidou support. Beidou support is very fun to use, like, especially with, okay, the only problem is it doesn't activate the Raiden Shogun, but I think that's a problem with the Raiden Shogun itself rather than a problem with Beidou, but I don't know, Beidou still has the ability to kick it around, you know, she's very fun, very good, very powerful. She can be run as support to do a lot of reaction taser comps as well with, like, pairings of Hydro. Don't put them with Pyro though, because of Overloaded, but I don't know. I feel like low A tier for her. Right, Bennett S+, we don't need to say anymore. It's literally just a Bennett thing. Bennett is extremely overpowered, and it is what it is. Chongyun, I'm going to say C tier. Now, listen. I know a lot of people are going to be like, bro, Chongyun is amazing. He was on the national team, which was like the meta for a while. Listen, my man, right? Maybe pairing up Chongyun with Shenhe now makes him a lot better, I'd say. But even then, I have never really seen the value in Chongyun. I find his E to create a circle that infuses everyone's weapons inside it with Cryo. It's the same as Bennett C6, but you know, instead of Pyro, it's Cryo. I've never seen the value out of it. His burst he's a decent burst user, but again, he's Cryo. Cryo Impact has a lot more Cryo characters, and to use Chongyun would be like using Chongyun as a main DPS. You can get him as a support, but your options are limited, especially around his kit, because you need to get Cryo particles to get his burst, and to get his burst up, you either need energy recharge, but you know his energy cost is 40, so I don't know if you'd really want to go energy recharge for that. So I don't know much about Chongyun, man, but I think he is C tier. I just don't think he's that good. Say Chongyun means that, you know, I respect you, but I just do not think Chongyun is that good. He can have the C tier. Now, D-Luke. He's an old DPS. He is very old now as far as Genshin came out. Genshin came out for 2 years, and D-Luke was like, he used to be S+ tier, right? He has fallen off quite a bit. Now, I'd say he's A tier. That's just coming from me at least, because he can still do quite a lot of damage, but I don't think his damage is comparable to the to new characters. So I'm gonna say A. Like, he's still a decent main DPS, but his damage is not as good in comparison to, let's say, Ganyu. I would say it's pretty decent with Ganyu, but like Ayaka, Ito's a pretty big, you know, hard hitter with a claymore. They both use claymores. Eula, but use more physical. I don't know. As far as Pyro DPS goes, he is probably one of like the higher up on the list, but I'd say even like Yoimiya could do more damage than D-Luke. That's just coming from me, but yeah, honestly, D-Luke is like a mid-A tier for me. He's okay, but you know, it's not the best. Diona, right. Now, don't get me wrong, Diona, I don't use her that much, but she is fairly good. Now, if you've been playing the game for a while, like, she can just do, she's basically a jack of all, she's a better Barbara, first off, because she shields, she can heal. I know I'm going mostly off of, like, no constellations here, but if you get a constellation up, she can also, give you elemental mastery, which is good for nuke hits, but I'm not factoring that into this. But Diona is I'd say she's an S tier. Now, her healing is fairly good. She's level 50 in my count, but like even then, she was healing for a decent amount when I was using her. A lot of players' teams use her. She's been fairly quite used a lot in stuff like the Abyss and other content. I'd say she is an S tier only because of the fact that she is good at what she does and she can do both healing and shielding. So, like I know, she's a very good support, and also she is cryo, so she can also set you up for reactions if you so please. Now, Eula is a good physical attacker. I think she is probably one of the best physical units in the game. Now, physical, it is in a better like spot. Now there is like a bunch of supports that accommodate for this. Like for example, put it in there for a second. Raiden Shogun can like help you proc superconduct. Kuki Shinobu is a healer that can also help you proc superconduct nowadays, because she's a new character that came in since last time I did this. I mean, you could even use Yae Miko as a support with her like little turret, like tower things. Official. I mean, there's a bunch of ways to set her up for superconduct. She has a bit of a clunky kit in terms of her burst, but in the fact that like if you build a Eula really well, everything's dead before the burst goes off. But in reality, the way I see it, I don't think that's a problem with Eula's design. I think that's a problem with the fact that she's too strong. So I'd say she is an S tier, maybe an S plus with the right investment. But for now, I'm gonna put her S. This will probably change. She might go like mid S. I don't know. Is she better than Diona? Definitely, but that's what it is. Official. I put her an S plus last time. My mistake. She's not an S plus unit. I'm not gonna lie. Like she's good, but I don't know. She's up there. Is she as good as Beidou? I mean, she has a turret, so she doesn't need to be on the field. But also with Beidou also doesn't need to be on the field. She just goes and presses E once. Gets a bunch of particles, does a lot of damage. I don't know, would you rather have consistent damage with Official or big tap number with Beidou to then have a infused attack? It really depends. I mean, Official is good. I'm going to say maybe low S for now. I think she's decent. Like, she's not the S plus that I thought she was last time, but she's still pretty good. Ganyu, S plus tier. Like, she's not as good as she used to be in terms of damage, but you can still hit some really high nukes with her. She's still unreasonably overpowered. Like, she carried me through 97% of the game. Now that I'm using different characters, you know, it's a bit different now, but before, I mean, I literally just lined her up. I literally had the prototype crescent on her before I got Amo's bow. I would press left click, I would do 22k damage with a charge attack, which wasn't even that highly invested, and like at C0 with like level 8 talents, I think that was really like strong. She's still quite strong now, even with the fact that with like new and more cryo characters coming out, her burst also gives you a little cryo increase if you stand inside of her burst. So I mean, she can play as a cryo support as well if you really wanted to play her that way, but I say as a main DPS, S plus, amazing character, get her up there. Guro, I put him in S last time. No. Okay, just no. He does buff. He buffs Ito. He buffs Ningguang. He buffs any Geo character, but he requires a lot of Geo characters, and for that, on his own, he would be quite low. But because of his ability to buff Geo teams, and it has made characters like Albedo, Ningguang more viable, I would say he is a high B, maybe even a low A, because his kit is good for buffing Geo. It's just not good for like teams of all different elements. So you know, we'll put him in a high B for now. Hu Tao, S plus. Now listen, I put her in A. No, I didn't put her in A. I put her in S last time. Hu Tao was really good. Like, especially with like Xingqiu as like a free to play option, as a reaction like support to work with Hu Tao. Hu Tao can do a lot of damage from charge attacks. Now you do need to know, if you don't have her C1, which I'm basing this mostly off of C0 characters, you will need to know how to dash cancel. It's not too difficult once you get the hang of it. Like, I don't know about mobile. There's a lot of mobile players, I know. If you're a mobile player, let me know in the comments, because I don't know any mobile players personally, but it's hard on mobile. I can barely play the game on mobile. I don't know how you guys do it, but you know, if we were based off of mobile, it'd be completely different, because the skill gap for Hu Tao is a bit different. I think she is an S+ though, because her damage output, very high. Her Q damage, very high. She's just a very strong character overall, so yeah, honestly, S+. Now, Jean. I know, Jean was a decent healer. She still is. I'm pretty sure her burst cleanses. I say this every time I do this video, but like, I swear her burst cleanses, which was good in the first ever Spiral of the Mist to come out, like floor 11 ice, it was 8, but Jean, solid S. Like, her healing is extremely high. However, though, it is tied to her burst, so you need to consider that one. But she's also just a good thing as well. You can put like 4-piece Viridescent as well to make her a Viridescent support with a bit of healing. I don't know, she's an S, I'd say, or maybe a high A, but I'd say S. Solid, like she can stay an S for now. Right, Kazuha can go next to Bennett on the support list in S+, because Kazuha is overpowered. No, okay, right, I need to stop saying overpowered. They're not actually overpowered, but like, Kazuha is extremely powerful, right? 4-piece Viridescent Venera, put an Iron Sting on him, build Elemental Mastery. I mean, I've put a bit of crit rate on him. He will clear a lot of the content in Genshin Impact, well, not single-handedly, but like with any character you want. Because Viridescent Venera will create a 40% like resistance shred for any of the supports. So already that's fairly good, like 40% like shredding. Plus his burst gives whatever element is swirled a damage increase based on his elemental mastery. So the more elemental mastery you stack, the higher your elemental damage increases based on what swirls. So let's say you got Ganyu. Kazuha swirls ice, so not only do you have a 40% resistance decrease, Ganyu would also get a elemental damage increase for Cryo based on Kazuha's elemental mastery, and honestly, he is probably one of the best supports in the game. He's one of my favourite supports in the game. I'm not being biased, he's just extremely good. So, S+ tier. Kaya. Now, Kaya, he deserves a bit more respect than he gets, I will say. I did put Kaya next to D-Luke in my last video. Honestly, I still hold the same opinion, or a similar opinion. Kaya is a good support, honestly. I know I said if you build him right. I mean, any character will be right if you build him right, if you go by that theory, but I don't know, I've seen a lot of Kaya's hit for like a solid like 15k with his burst, with every icicle that goes around, and there's a lot of icicles. It's good for reactions. I mean, I'm going to say high B. I don't know, I'm inclined to think that, but I don't know, Kaya's probably the best starting character now that I think about it, because like you have Lisa, Amber, Traveler, and Kaya, and like Kaya's like probably one of the strongest. He can also be a physical Kaya as well and do a lot of damage there, but honestly, Kaya's a really good support, so B tier. Kamisato Ayaka, S+. She's better than Hu Tao, probably. She's better than Ganyu nowadays, actually. Like, Ganyu's still strong, but Ayaka, well, after I like 10-10-10 with my Ayaka, she actually does a lot more damage than my Ganyu does. Not by nukes, but by sheer power of like consistent damage. Ayaka's like burst is extremely powerful. Like, I've been able to get it to hit for about 18k a tick with decent investment, so I know. Ayaka does more damage than Ganyu, and Ganyu's still super strong. Ayaka's extremely strong. Ayaka also gets used quite a lot in most content. She's also used a lot in people's teams. She also is probably she's also the most expensive, like, most pulled banner in the game as well. Probably because of the fact that the update got delayed for 3 weeks, so that helped, but Ayaka's extremely good. So I'd say S+. Pure based on the fact that she is just very strong. Now, Keqing. Keqing mains always get my respect. I'm going to say mid-A. Now, Keqing, as a character, has a bit of a weird kit. Now, there are 2 ways to build Keqing. You can build, actually no, 3 ways. You can build hybrids, which is a bit of electro, a bit of physical. Bit of a weird one, but that means you're probably building an attack % goblet. Electro damage, which is pure electro damage, which is good for the electro infusion, or you can build physical with superconduct and go all physical. But either way, all of these builds require Keqing to use her charge attack, and her charge attack uses quite a lot of stamina, and her damage output isn't as high as like other characters. Her damage output is still good, I just don't think it's as good as other 5 stars or other DPS characters on this list, so She is a mid-A tier. She's still good. If you're a Keqing main, I respect it because, like, you guys go day in and day out with every spreadsheet, every update, trying to figure out what mathematically is the best damage possible. So, I mean, look, Keqing could be a solid, like, mid-A tier. I mean, better than Klee for sure. Okay, right, I'm sorry, but listen, I've got my logic on Klee here, and Klee's interesting. So, again, Klee's kit, if you don't animation cancel with her walk, she is fairly clunky. I tried doing a test realm earlier, she's just still clunky. You got to know how to animation cancel by slowly moving forward every time you throw your first bomb to get your most effective damage. And even then, Klee's damage isn't too high. She also needs to use a charge attack, which the charge attack is basically melee range. It's not a very big range. Like, you have to be very close up to the enemy to be able to hit the charge attack. Charge attack does a lot of damage for sure, but you need to be up close. You can also use a lot of stamina if you haven't built, if you've not got like the passive up. Like, I don't know. I don't think she's that high. A tier. Kujo Sara, good buffer for Electro, but very clunky with how she works. B tier. Like, she's really good with like Raiden Shogun or Yae Miko, but she's a bit clunky in her kit. She has to like charge attack, aim at the floor. Yeah, I don't like it that much, but she also buffs people's attack. Not as good as Bennett, but, you know, it's still good. Like, her kit is good, but it's just a bit clunky with some aspects, so B tier. At least you can go and see. She's not awful. Well, she is quite awful, but there's a lot of better electro supports out there. Like, if you're using Lisa to like do high numbers, you could use Beidou. If you're using Lisa to do consistent electro damage, you could use Fischl or Beidou, or even Kujo Sara with her burst. Like, honestly, it just, you know, Lisa's not that good. She gets outclassed by a bunch of other electro characters very quickly, very easily. So, yeah. Traveler, same tier really. And now Mona. Now, Mona is still a really good support in Genshin, I'd say. Probably an S+. She can enable a lot of like Mona nukes, and she also puts Omen on enemies to like make so that they take more damage, so I don't know. Mona is very fun, very nice, very good. Good like support as well. She's got a taunt as well in her kit, so I don't know. I'd say it's a low S+ or a high S for Mona. She's very strong. Now, Ningguang, listen, I'm sorry to anyone on this list who mains Klee, Keqing, D-Luke. I genuinely think Ningguang is a high A tier, or maybe even a low S, because she's very good. She's probably, well, she is the second highest, she's the second best Geo damage dealer in the game, right? Ito takes the crown for now, because of his his consistent comboing, but like Ningguang would take a close second. Like, I know she's a character that a lot of people have. She's very like strong. Her own screen gives her a damage increase. She can also, you know, get the J-stars on her back. I know, with the right investment, Ningguang can do like a ludicrous amount of damage. Now I know it's based off of C0, but like a little side note: if you get C6, please use her. C6 Ningguang she's amazing. She is just a very good unit. I would say she's a high A tier, lowest tier at the minimum. I think Ningguang mains deserve more respect because people shit on Ningguang mains. I'm pretty sure everywhere I go, I see Ningguang mains get shit on. So listen, Ningguang needs more love. So I would be putting her in a solid high A tier because she is a good unit. Now, right, Noelle. I mean, look, she was a good shielder. I wouldn't say she's as good as she used to be. I mean, it changes a bit when you get to C6, but again, Ningguang does more damage. Ito just exists now, so I don't know. Noelle's not as potent as she used to be, but I'm also kind of sad to put a bunch of Geo characters and Bs here because, like, we know that. But I mean, actually, I don't know. I feel like Albedo might actually be more of an A tier. He's still fairly good. Like, Albedo's A. He's a decent support. He doesn't deserve to be in B tier. Maybe like mid A for now. Qiqi, good healer, but listen, bro. I'm like, she can only heal, right? Her main kit is healing, and now there's healers that are objectively better because of overheal. and Qiqi needs attack. So, I mean, listen, I think Qiqi is probably, like, a B tier, or maybe, like, a very, very low A on the fringes of falling out of A. Like, she's not bad, like, she's a really good healer, and I'd probably put her at low A just because of the fact that she heals really well, but as far as it's, like, concerned, her healing out, like when you get to full healing, what else do you do? She also doesn't really do much damage on the field, so I don't know. There's some damage. There are some healers you can get that do a lot more damage for your team and provide a bit more utility. So I don't know. Qiqi's like low A. Raiden Shogun S+. She is a very strong support. She's a very good battery. She can recharge your entire team's burst. Her burst also does a lot of damage, provided that you build with the right circumstances. I don't, so I do no damage, but there are free-to-play Raidens that can hit really hard and also provide a lot of elemental like battery for your burst. So I don't know, Raiden's a good S+ tier, probably better than Ganyu, which makes me upset to say that, but you know, it is what it is. Razor B. Right, he's just not as good as he used to be. Makes me very sad because he used to be on a lot of people's teams. He used to be very, very OP. Well, not very OP, but like he used to be very like much used at the start of the game, but not as much now. I don't really see any Razor mains around anymore. Kind of sad, but Razor can be a B. Rosaria, she's a decent Cryo support that also gives your team a bit of crit rate based on her crit rate. So I'm gonna say that Rosaria can be she can be an A tier. Her burst provides a bit of a like good crit rate, good reaction as long as it stays in the circle. I don't know, Rosaria can be an A, low A. Kokomi, there has been an artifact set released since then for Kokomi. Now, oh man, I might get a lot of flack for putting her in S+, but objectively, Kokomi, I don't know. I feel like we all shout on Kokomi when she came out, but since then there has been a bit of a buff for her. There was the Ocean Hued Clam set, which let it so that if Kokomi overhealed, she would like send a fish that would do a lot of damage based on how much HP that you overheal by. So that solves one of the problems on her kit. Secondly, like she can throw down the jellyfish that heals. Also can provide reactions. Ideally freeze. Like it's good for freeze comps. So you know, like Kokomi can be used on freeze teams with Ganyu, Ayaka, and all of the other, you know, Cryo characters. Like, there was a point in time where it was discussing whether or not Kokomi can replace Mona, but then there was like 1010 or something, made like a 20-minute document on why not, based on like milliseconds, like theory. I don't know. It was too much out of my head, but Kokomi S+, highest healing in the game, I'm pretty sure. Can freeze, and her burst is also, you know, really good for like emergencies. Because, you know, it just does a lot of healing very quickly. Sayu, she rolls, that's about it. Probably a low B for Sayu. Like, her healing is good, but like the rest of her kit, the rolling, I don't know, man. It's just very, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy using it. So it can be a B. Shenhe, high S, maybe, well, actually no, it's a high S because the fact that Shenhe is a really strong buffer for Ayaka, Ganyu, and I don't know. If you run those two, you will get a lot of value out of having a Shenhe because of the fact that Shenhe buffs your character's like cryo damage done, and also her burst lowers cryo resistance. So imagine pairing like one of my favorite comps in the game: Ayaka, Bennett, Kazuha, and Shenhe. Now, like, because you can throw an Ayaka, Kazuha does the swirl, Shenhe lowers the resistance even more. Like, I know, Shenhe's very strong for cryo teams, and it's probably one like your must-have support. Now, it also works okay with other comps because of the fact that her burst does consistent cryo damage on top, so it could be used for reactions. That's why, for example, a character like Guro is kind of like low at the bottom because of the fact that Geo doesn't react with other elements, but cryo kind of does, so I don't know, weighing up the differences, it's fairly decent. Now, Sucrose, mid-S. Sucrose is still a really good support, I'd say personally. She can do quite a lot in terms of reactions. Most of her damage comes from doing swirl reactions with Elemental Mastery stacked on top of her. Ideally, you want to build her as an Elemental Mastery battery because then it will, like, create a lot of swirl damage, and also it passes on her Elemental Mastery to your team, so meaning you can hit higher elemental reaction numbers, and it's also just, she's probably a must-have for nuke teams as well, so overall, Sucrose highest, and I really suggest we go for like 30 minutes, so I need to hurry this up, because there's like another like 10 characters, a lot more characters on top of this, so Tartaglia, low S. Now, it's only because of the fact that he works well in stuff like a taser comp, but something important to consider is the fact that he does have a long cooldown, and you need to know how to manage that cooldown to get the most value out of him. Now, cooldown isn't like his main problem with his kit, it's just like, you know, yeah, it's just kind of cooldown really, now that I think about it, but he's still a really strong unit. I loved using him, so I'd say he's a low S. He's still very decent. Toma, get in the bin. You're a C tier. He's okay for doing like reactions, I guess, but his shield numbers aren't high. His damage numbers are even lower. He's just not good. Not very good. Venti can get an S+. I don't know how I'm going to like organise this. I would say probably that. His suck is very immaculate in more ways than one. He's still decent. There are some enemies in Inazuma that you can't pull, so they are trying to nerf him a bit, but even then, Venti is still fairly decent. Like, I would say he's still a really good support character in Genshin, so yeah, Venti can get into the S+. Xiangling is an A. It's high A, maybe a low S. Xiangling still works quite well with a Pyronado, because like, right, getting into like the real like nerd shit, her like Pyronado has like the perfect cooldown for like elemental reactions or something, so she's used quite a lot. Personally, I don't see the point in it, but hey, Xiangling can, like, she's still very strong, so I'd say an S. Probably not as good as like Jim Child or that. I don't know, mate. Maybe a low S, maybe like a mid S, like, cause she's good, she's decent, like, she's probably like as good as Fischl and Sucrose, but like, I don't know how I feel about putting her above, like, you know, Tartaglia and all that. Now, Zhao. This was up for debate. Now, he's on the ropes between S and S+. He's still a really good DPS. The plunge damage, I don't know how you know, he also got his own artifact set as well recently, so that does help him quite a lot. I'm going to say low S, he's still a really strong damage dealer in terms of everything, so yeah, he also got his artifact set too, so listen, he can be decent. Xingqiu, there is no contest. He is high S. Now, there's a character that is completely overlapped now, but Xingqiu is one of the best supportive characters you can have, really. He is good for providing just reaction damage, especially paired with stuff like Pyro, like Hu Tao. Like, he could be used for like Ayaka. Like, there's a lot of like characters that he just runs well with, and for the longest time, he was probably one of the best supports you could have on your team. He has been overlapped by Yelon now, but hey, he still is a high S in my books. Right, Xinyan, you deserve a bit more love than you get, honestly. She's better than Toma. Low B. I'm sorry, but her Jack of all trade stuff just doesn't make her too good. I still like her, so... And she does more than Toma does, so, I mean, she does have some low B at least. For that. Yae Miko, she's not an S+, honestly. She is not an S+. She's probably like a mid S, honestly. Like, she's a good Electro, like, sub DPS. Like, her turrets have a bit of that clunkiness to it, which does hold her back a little bit. Especially with the fact that they changed the target system in 2.6 to try and fix it, but it didn't fix it, it made it infinitely worse, so they reversed it. It's a bit hard to get consistent damage on her, but she's decent in groups, and honestly, her burst also does quite a lot of damage. But if I ever have to hear, right now, emerge, for the rest of my life, I swear, like, I love her to bits, but honestly, after the 27th hour of hearing right here, right now, emerge, every time I want to do a combo or do damage, I don't know, it's a bit annoying, but I'm not factoring that into this. Damage is decent, okay support, I'd say mid-S. Yanfei can also, she can do a lot of damage, if she wanted to. Like, she's not a bad DPS to have, really. She's not up there with Ningguang, because I feel like Ningguang does a bit more, but I know, she's a low A. She's fairly decent, to be honest, and I don't know. I can see with like good stuff, she can be fairly decent. Yoimiya, right now, a lot of people will say Yoimiya's bad. No ICD. But honestly, she has been after like 2.3 with actually no, was it 2.3 that Yunjin came out? No. I think Yunjin came out in 2.4. I don't know what update Yunjin came out, but like, but my point is, as soon as Yunjin came out, like Yoimiya got a bit better because of the combo with Yunjin, and honestly, I think she runs a bit better with Yelan as well now because of the fact that Yelan's reactions like come out at the same time Yoimiya's does. So I don't know, Yoimiya is a fairly decent damage dealer. I would say she is probably like mid to high S. Like, she's very good. Yunjin works extremely well with her. She works well with anyone that does only normal attacks. Now, thinking of DPSs that do normal attacks, you can't think of too many because Ito needs to do a charge attack. Ayaka does a charge attack. Hu Tao does a charge attack. Ganyu does not normal attack. Zhao plunges, so that doesn't count. Eula, she works well with. Yoimiya, she works perfectly with. Diluc would be an option for some of his normal attacks. I don't know. Yunjin, she has her moments in certain team comps, and she deserves at least maybe like a mid-A for that. Like, the problem is her versatility doesn't work as well with other characters. But like, if you have the team to work around her, like you have a Yoimiya or maybe a Eula, I could see Yunjin working with your normal attack. Now, Zhongli is obviously an S+. You can hold E and then immediately win at Genshin Impact. So yeah, I will have to reorganize this in a second. Okay, Ayato. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fell asleep during this update, so I don't know how good Ayato is. I just do not care about this character, so I have not researched into him. But I don't know. Apparently, his damage is actually fairly decent. Probably like around the same way. I'm gonna put him in the same place as Yoimiya for now. You can argue with me in the comments about why he's good. I just don't. I know nothing about Ayato, so it's what it is. Kuki Shinobu, I wish you were really good, but you're probably a high B. Your healing is good, your reaction is good, but your damage isn't good. But like you're a healer, so you're not meant to do damage. I don't know. Probably a B tier. And then Yelan, obviously a really good S+. She's a very OP support. She's just very fun, very good support. She does a lot of reaction damage. It's a lot more than Xingqiu. She also goes off of HP %, so your useless artifacts can be used on her. Overall S+. And now finally, Haizo. Now this is the day I'm recording. This the day he comes out, so I'm gonna have to say maybe his ammo damage is really good at C0 from the videos I've seen. Is it better than Diluc? Probably not. Is it better than Keqing? Maybe. Mid-A. Listen, I just don't know yet. I'm going to also rearrange this tier list now to basically my final answer, because there are a couple here that need a couple bits of rearranging. Mainly the S+ tier, because some of it needs to be changed. So, okay, I mean, I've barely rearranged it, to be honest. I've just rearranged most stuff in the S tier and a bit of the S tier as well. A tier remains mostly untouched, so is B, C, D, and also the Aloy brackets trash tier. Overall, let me know, how much do you hate this tier list? How much do you like this tier list? Don't be too mean in the comments, but I'm interested to see your thoughts on it. I hope you guys have a great day, all of you. Take care, and I'll see you guys in another video really soon. Have a lovely day, everyone.